What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Destiny. Since this game's release, the original Destiny's release, in fact, all the way back in 2014, there have been two repeatable rotational playlists that the average Destiny player would go to basically once they're done with everything else. I mean, they could repeat things like raids and the like, but for the most part, there was two very common places you could find players once everything else has been done. Once they finished all their quests, once they got nothing else to do, if they want to just work on builds and just regular average things like that in an activity where they can actually get stuff done. And that is either in the Crucible playlist or the Vanguard playlist. The Vanguard playlist has evolved over the years just a little bit. This is now the overall Strike playlist. It has modifiers. This has pretty much been the case since the Taken King. You get these special modifiers, both positive and negative, that will have effects on the way that the game actually plays within these strikes. What strikes you get are random, and on top of that, they have since added not just strikes to this playlist, but also battlegrounds, particularly the battlegrounds that were given to us during Season of the Chosen I want to say that was the second season after the launch of Beyond Light. These are another different type of three-man activity that are similar to strikes, but they usually tend to take place in a much more confined area, but with a much heavier concentration of enemies than the average strike gives you. Then we have the Nightfalls. Nightfalls were always the perennial difficult version of strikes. You can see here we've got 4 different difficulties to choose from. Adept, which has matchmaking on. It is very similar to the strike playlist. It's slightly harder, and it doesn't usually have positive modifiers, usually just negative modifiers, but you can sometimes get very special weapons and exotics as drops at the end. Then we have the heroic ones. This is where champions come into play. I'm going to go into champions a little bit later on, but just know this is an even harder difficulty variant of Adept, and you do actually need to be at the soft level cap to be able to do these. Then we get into Legend and Master. These are by far the harder versions. Legend, not so much. Master's a bit harder. Typically requires you to be a very high level. You not only need to hit the pinnacle cap, but you also need the help of the seasonal artifacts power level to make it to this level cap. But even if you're under leveled by like 10 or 20 levels, Master isn't too bad. While it does have a lot of negative modifiers, you just need a good strategy going in, some helpful teammates, and you shouldn't have too much of an issue. You can see the rewards are much more common in this, and that is the reward for doing Masters. But then there's the Grandmaster Nightfalls. Now, Grandmaster Nightfalls are a bit different from the regular Nightfalls. Typically, it's the same strike, but at least in the first, I think, 6 weeks of the season, or the 6 weeks that Grandmasters are active, but it comes with a whole lot more champions, a whole lot more negative modifiers, and some negative modifiers that just flat out never change. Like right here, you can see we have contest. There is no join in progress allowed. There is a locked loadout, so you can't switch your weapons in the middle of it. Your champions are much higher. They've got stronger shields. And also in Grandmasters, if you die, instead of being kicked back to the last checkpoint, your entire team is kicked back to orbit. This is supposed to be the highest level endgame PvE stuff that you do that gives you the most rewards, gives you adept versions of the Nightfall weapons, which means that they come with more perks, better stats, and all sorts of stuff like that. Grandmasters might be something we get into later on in the series, although it's probably not likely. I personally haven't run a Grandmaster in well over a year because I don't need to anymore, so maybe one of these days I'll be able to show these, but I just don't know if I'll be able to get anywhere near the power level required on this account to make that happen. You do need to grind pretty hard to even be eligible for these particular ones, but the regular Nightfalls themselves are more than rewarding enough if you're willing to put in at least a little bit of time to be able to do Legend and Master level content. Then we have the Crucible. Crucible is... well, it's the Crucible. It's the PvP. It really hasn't changed as a concept much in the world of Destiny, but as a meta, it has changed significantly. It is constantly a hot topic. It has a whole, I would say, almost like a third of the player base that solely plays the game for just this and this alone, and no one is ever happy with it. No one is ever happy with the Crucible. Even I'm not happy with the Crucible. It's just always a mess. Whether it be the matchmaking, whether it be the meta, whether it be whatever modes are available, it's a PvP mode, and what video game that has the PvP mode doesn't have it as a hot topic? It just always is. But there are some additions that they have made. So usually there is a very standard quick play playlist that is either Clash or Control. It is not available at the moment because Iron Banner is there instead, but when Iron Banner is not active, you can see it right in here. There's a competitive playlist, which is 3v3. You can actually rank up in the competitive division. This was a very recently added as of the time of recording this video. I've never actually done competitive myself, so I actually can't speak on it too much, but I know that you get a couple specific rewards for doing competitive that are mostly cosmetic, not really gear-based, but it's just kind of there as a test your metal, prove your worth sort of thing, and you can, I guess, flaunt your rank and flaunt the cosmetics that you get out of this playlist. There's also the Crucible Labs playlist, which this is very rotational. Bungie will, from time to time, try out variants of different modes or brand new modes altogether in this playlist, and you can go play them if you so desire. They still count towards getting pinnacle gear and ranking up your Crucible rank and all that stuff, so if you want to go have fun in here, go for it. Sometimes these will be really competitive modes, though, so do be aware. Then they will usually have a very silly mode down here in the bottom next to the private match. Now, right now it's Rumble, which I would say is the most competitive of these rotational playlists, but other times you'll get things like Team Scorched, where everyone in the game just has Scorch cannons and you can't use your actual weapons and it's just a blast and it's goofy. Or Mayhem, where everyone's super and ability recharges is like basically what you saw in the Blind Well, tenfold, and you can just throw crazy abilities everywhere, and the score threshold is much higher, and all that sorts of stuff. I mean, it's just this is honestly the least amount of modes that Destiny has had in a very long time. They've tried to streamline things a bit more and condense the modes down, so that's why it kind of looks the way it does. But then I also should draw your attention to the freelance playlists really quickly. So in the competitive and the standard quick play playlists, or at least Iron Banner, and then also sometimes in Trials of Osiris, they will give us a freelance playlist where you can only enter it if you're a solo player, meaning there's no chance of you going up against groups of 3, 4, 5, or 6 that have way better communication than you do and will likely stomp you because of that very simple act of communication while you're playing with a bunch of randos. That's really all it is. It's just kind of there to make the experience functionally better for people who predominantly play solo. But then there is a third playlist that was added with the release of Forsaken, which is why we're talking about it today. We already met the Drifter in the tower. He is the character that began this brand new game mode known as Gambit. Now, Gambit has itself a freelance playlist and a standard playlist. We're going to be doing the freelance playlist. You can see I've already played one game. It was just kind of to test the waters again because I haven't played Gambit in a very long time. I don't play this game mode much because I don't like it very much, but I figure that I should at least explain how this mode works. Now, it's changed a lot over the years. It's always been 4v4. It's always been PvEVP, but the actual mechanics within it have changed a bit. It used to actually be a best of 3. You had to win 2 rounds to win the entire thing. In fact, it might have even been worse than that before. No, it was. It was always a best of 3, but it was, yeah, if you had to win 2 rounds, if you went into the 3rd round with a tiebreaker, they later on added a change where the 3rd round was like a speed run where you only fought the boss and you didn't have to do anything else. And then eventually they just did away with that altogether. Now it's just a singular round with a slightly higher score threshold. What does any of that mean? Well, let me jump in and I can explain this. So like I said, Gambit is PvEVP. You have 2 teams of 4, you are on one of the teams, and you are trying to compete to get the highest score and defeat the boss at the end. Very simple. I have no idea if this Gambit game is going to go well. We will see. This might end up being a disaster, but I'll at least try to explain it as we go. So when you start the game, you're going to be dropped into a little container. You're going to be looking at the other team effectively, and the Drifter is going to make a little speech. This is your time to basically emote and taunt at the other team before you start. It's just kind of this silly little thing. Then the actual round begins. What's going to happen is you're going to be dropped into an arena, and PvE enemies are going to spawn in different sections of the arena as you go. For every enemy you kill, and also dependent on how strong that enemy is, they are going to drop motes. Really weak enemies will only drop 1, but stronger enemies, orange bar enemies, these will tend to drop more. You will also have other special enemies that will roam around the field that can drop 5, 10, even up to 15 motes per. The most motes you can hold on your person at any given time is 15. These motes need to be taken to a central location in the middle of the arena known as the bank. You need to put these motes in the bank to add to your score. You need to do it hurriedly and without dying, because if you die, you will drop all of your motes. The number of motes that you also have on your person is also important, because the number of motes you actually bank will actually determine what blocker you send to the other team. 5 motes for a small blocker, 10 motes for a medium blocker, and 15 for a large. Obviously, everything in between also matters. This blocker will actually close the enemy team's bank, meaning they can't put in their moats until the blockers are killed. And the stronger the blocker, the harder it is for them to get rid of, etc., etc. Very, very simple concept. You can also use this to your advantage with things like the invasion portal. So every once in a while, once you hit a certain score threshold, an invasion portal will actually open up that will allow players to go to the other team and actually kill them to make them or hurt or damage them or whatever to make them lose their moats. This will also cause them to have to, even if they don't engage with the invader, they will still probably have to hide and things like that. The invader will have an overshield that makes their job a little bit easier because they're kind of in a 1v4 situation. And the whole idea is basically just to hamper the other team's progress. And that's the PV part and where that whole thing comes in with this one. All right, let me kill him before I die here. There we go. All right. So now I have enough moats to bank a medium blocker, so I'm going to head on over there really quickly. Although I am going to grab this before I go because I do have a brand new rocket launcher that I would like to use in here known as the Two-Tailed Fox. So we'll be talking about that as we continue to collect them. So the way that this works, or the way that this rocket launcher works, is that it fires out 2 rockets, one that does void damage and one that does solar damage. I'm actually going to use it on this streak. Oh, I was going to use it on that streaker, but he killed it too quickly. The solar damage rocket, if it doesn't kill the enemy it hits, will burn them, and the void one will suppress them. Oh man, they are killing everything before I have a chance because they have way better weapons than I do. That one that's causing poison damage there, Osteostriga, is just stupid for ad clear, so it's really good for this mode. We'll be getting it a little bit later on. So there's the invasion portal right there. I'm actually going to head on inside it to show how this works. So once you head through, you can see the locations of the other enemies, and you can actually do damage to them if you so desire, which I did kill somebody, but he did. I also got absolutely domed by this guy with a linear fusion rifle, which I should have expected, but oh well. Was able to get a kill, though. So, yeah, you're trying to go in there, hamper progress, etc., etc. It makes a lot of sense. Two-Tailed Fox is an incredibly strong rocket, so that's why I was able to get the job done with that. And we are actually being drained. Oh, okay, so this right here is a high-value target. I am going to damage it so that I can kill it immediately. It drops a bunch of heavy, gets me a ton of moats, etc., etc. I think they just spawned. Come on. Oh, get out of here. Let's see. Okay, he is on me like a Donkey Kong. Let me see if I can get him when I heal. Hold on. Kill him, please. I almost had him. I'm just trying to... I don't really... I mean, I have 9 moats, which sucks, but maybe I can... Okay, he's gone. I was able to stall him out, so he didn't get to any of my teammates. You know what? That was good enough work. I know I have 9 moats, but it did get the job done that I wanted to get. All right, let's punch that guy right before he boops me away. There we go. And now we can actually deposit some. So let's do that, because as soon as we get to 100, the boss is going to spawn, and then I can explain how the boss works. Come on, guys. Let's go. Drop it in, Shax's boy toy. All right, we got another medium blocker in here. Kill that really quickly. Okay. Come on. Really quick. There we go. No, he's not dead yet. There he is. Now he is dead. Okay, drop those in. Okay, now begins the boss phase. So the boss is going to spawn in, and it's going to immediately have a shield. With the boss will spawn 3 primevals that will all have overshields and little enemies around them. You need to kill all of the primevals before you can actually damage the boss. So you're going to want to do that as quickly as you possibly can. I think I saw him somewhere, but I don't know where at exactly. Let's see. I kill this guy here. Thank you. Come on. Kill this thing. And now they have their primeval, which means the race is now on. There we go. Invader is still here, but it looks like they're just going to stall us out. So now we can start doing damage here. I'm going to do that. And I have to be really careful with Two-Tailed Fox because it doesn't immediately fire. It actually has like a delay. So it's very easy to blow yourself up if you're not used to that delay. All right, let's try to kill these guys. There we go. A little bit of extra damage. I'm going to do that for this extra damage here so we can kill him. Now we just got the other one. I am not actually in a very good situation. I don't have a whole lot of help right now. Here, let's see if I can chain a couple of these melees together so I can get combination blows stronger. Never mind. Okay, Primeval is now damageable. Let's do our super here so that can whittle down its health faster. Probably not going to kill it because it's going to go immune before that happens. You typically can't kill this thing until the 3rd damage phase because it actually gates you out. All right, where is this guy at? Let's find out. He is firing a rocket launcher at me, which is going to kill me because, of course, it is. That really sucks. It's okay, though. We'll be doing a lot more damage on this next phase, so we should be okay. If I can actually respawn in here. The invader is gone, so right now we are fine. Now let's see if we can revive this guy really quickly. Like, really quickly. Come on, before you respawn. Thank you. Okay, get that in. I would love to invade, but I don't really have, like, the means to do it. Oh, dang it. Right before his shield went up, too. Son of a gun. Okay, we need to hurry. We need to hurry. We need to hurry. Go, 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 go. It's a race. It's all it is a race. All right, here we go. Here we go. Kill it. Kill that frickin' goblin. Thank you. Hurry. Okay, we barely did it. My goodness, I hate Gambit. Hey, but I got two. Wow, I'm glad I got 2 drops for my troubles there, though. I will take it. Looks like we got a sniper rifle and a pulse rifle with a really good roll. Wow, holy crap. High cals, subsistence, dragonfly. I'm not going to complain about that at all. I might actually be using that. Sniper, not so much. Why would I ever want air assault on a sniper rifle? We'll be talking about perks a little bit later on, but that is Gambit. It's simple. It's a very, very simple mode. It's just my biggest problem with it is that, and this is true with the Crucible as well, is that Bungie balances this game around PvE. But at the same time, it also it does consider PvP like Crucible and Gambit, but it doesn't balance those modes independent of PvE. So if something is really overpowered in the regular game in PvE and everything, it's going to be really overpowered in Gambit. If something is really overpowered in Crucible, it's going to get nerfed for Crucible, but it's also going to get nerfed in PvE where it has no business getting nerfed, if that makes sense. It's the way Bungie kind of balances things is nonsensical, I would say, to put it mildly, between these two modes. This mode's harmless. This mode's just fun. You just do it on your own time. It's a part of the whole experience. These two are kind of separate, and therefore, because they're not separate enough, they cause a lot of problems within Destiny, and I'm not big fans of either one of them as a result. But that's really all I have to say on that. It's worth talking about. It's there. It's a thing. Luckily, we'll never have to look at it again for the rest of this Let's Play. Guys, thank you all so much for watching this episode of Let's Play Destiny. In the next episode, we got another talky one on our hands. I got to go over both the weapon and the armor systems within the game. I have a lot to talk about in regards to those two things, and we're going to basically break down the mechanics of how to build your armor and your weapons and things like that, but I'm going to have to do it from my main account because that is a much better place to actually explain all those things since I actually have everything unlocked over there. So guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.